All right. So don't forget, you can still rent kayaks and paddleboards through Wichita Park and Recreation each Saturday beginning at noon through the end of September. Looking ahead at the agenda, today the Mayor and Council will review 2 potential community events, Ottoman Art and the Tallgrass Film Festival. For the latest City of Wichita news, we encourage you to connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, or Cox Channel 7. Good morning, Mayor Longwell and City Council.
Good morning, and thank you, Megan, and welcome to all of you that are able to join us here in-house, and those that are watching from afar. We welcome you to our regular City Council meeting. We'll call the meeting to order, and with us this morning is Pastor David Griffiths from Heaven Sent Ministries that's going to provide an invocation. Following that, we will have the Pledge of Allegiance, and we invite you to join us for both of those. Pastor David, nice to have you.
Thank you. If we can bow for prayer. Lord, I just want to thank you for a city and a group who is willing and inviting clergy to come in humility. Here we offer ourselves to you, Lord, because you tell us to pray for a city so that it may go well with us. Lord, I just want to thank you again and ask that as decisions are made today, Lord, that they will be done, as your word says, righteousness and moral behavior exalt a nation, they exalt a city. And so I just thank you for that, Lord, and ask as they make decisions today that that's how they'll make them. They'll make them from a position of humility and a position of righteousness. And then, Lord, I want to pray for discernment and wisdom. Lord, your word tells us that wisdom comes from you. And so I ask that you give them wisdom above their knowledge. Lord, as they may talk about things that they don't all agree on, Lord, I pray for cooperation, understanding. And then, Lord, as my position as a priest pastor, if you will, I want to pronounce a blessing on everyone here today, Lord, and it comes out of your word in Numbers, and it says, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine on you and keep you as a gracious person. May the Lord turn his face towards you and give you peace. So I pray that in your name, Lord, that there will peace would reign today. In Jesus' name, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So our first item is approval of the minutes of August 28th. Any changes or corrections? Seeing none, I move that we approve the meeting minutes for August 28th, 2018.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Cast your vote. Motion passes 7-0, and we have a couple of awards this morning. So our first one is a wellness award. So naturally, we have our resident healthy and wellness person, Becky Tuttle. Do you have an office in the building? That's what I thought. I'm just going to turn it over to you.
Awesome. Thank you. Good morning. I'm Becky Tuttle with the Health and Wellness Coalition of Wichita, and thank you for allowing me to be here today to be able to present this fantastic award to the City of Wichita. The Health and Wellness Coalition of Wichita Working Well Award recognizes outstanding employers in Sedgwick County who demonstrate extraordinary success in providing a supportive and rewarding environment for their employees to make positive, healthy lifestyle choices. This year's applicant pool was extremely robust and probably some of the most impressive applications we've had in the past 14 years. The City of Wichita's purpose for their employee wellness program has been to improve the overall health of their employees, their families, and our community by empowering them with information, guidance, and the resources they need to be successful. Over the past 3 years, the city has increased participation in their wellness program by over 10%. Each year, employees have the opportunity to complete a confidential biometric screening, a health assessment, online coaching and learning modules, and establish relationships with their primary care physicians, doctors, dentists, and also their eye exam. Employees have access to activities sponsored such as the infamous Walk Along Well and also strolling at our Botanica. Based on strategic program design, the wellness program has contributed to retaining healthcare cost increases of 50% less than trend, decreasing health risk factors, and improving productivity. Kudos to the City of Wichita for not only providing an outstanding wellness program for their employees, but also serving as a role model for the rest of our community. Congratulations. All right. Thank you.
So we have another special award. This thing's heavy. If we can have Sean Henning and our procurement department want to come up with. Good morning. I think you should hold this.
You want me to?
Here, this is yours. How's that? That would probably help us on the health and wellness if you just sit back there and curl that. So purchasing receives a national award that you can be seen behind me here. The Purchasing Division of the Department of Finance received the National Purchasing Institute's 23rd Annual Achievement of Excellence in Procurement Award for 2018. This prestigious award is achieved by those organizations that demonstrate excellence in procurement. The City of Wichita was one of only 2 government agencies in Kansas and one of only 65 cities in the United States to receive this award in 2018. This award is based on an evaluation of the purchasing division using a set of standardized criteria. This evaluation process is designed to measure state-of-the-art and best practices, innovation, professionalism, e-procurement, productivity, and leadership attributes of the procurement function. The Finance Department Purchasing Division continues to improve the performance outcomes and procurement functions to better serve their customers and to excel in government public purchasing. As a reflection of this, the Purchasing Division has received this award for 17 years. Congratulations to the Department of Financing, purchasing staff, their hard work, their dedication to excellence in procurement. And you want to step up and share that and show the people? Tell us something about the last 17 years.
Well, you've been here the last 17 years
Pretty
too.
close.
Yeah, I know. So, this is our purchasing team. We are a centralized purchasing for the City of Wichita. So we want to make sure we have a good public openness and fairness for our City of Wichita projects, that everyone has an opportunity to bid on our projects, and that we are here to strive for excellence going forward and always looking for the best practices for that. So it's a team effort, and we appreciate our customers in the city and their citizens.
Appreciate you. Madam Clerk, you want to call the next item, please?
Fritz Heinz Panhandling Ordinance.
Is Fritz Heinz with us this morning? Going once? Doesn't appear to be. The next speaker?
Tom Ewert, proposed changes to the CAT ordinance regarding animal control changes.
Do we have two Tom Ewerts?
I'm Tom Ewert. I'm the president of Wichita Audubon. And we've heard about this change in the ordinance, proposed change, and we have a position statement against it. My colleague Bill Langley is also on the board of directors of Wichita Audubon.
So Tom, you're the only one signed up to speak.
Well, Tom's has recent surgery.
Yeah.
Then why did Tom sign up to speak?
Why did I sign up? Because I'm the president. I represent what we agreed to as a board of directors of Wichita Audubon.
Okay, generally whoever's going to speak is the one that needs to sign up to speak.
Yeah, okay.
Here. Just read the letter.
So, Wichita Audubon Society is committed to providing nature education, promoting environmental conservation, and encouraging appreciation of the natural world. We promote our community's ability to enjoy the wildlife in general and birds in particular in our area, the country, and even the world. Recent studies have shown that cat predation has much greater impact on birds and small wildlife than previously estimated. Cat predation represents the single greatest source of anthropogenic mortality for U.S. birds and mammals. According to a new study, cats kill between 1.4 billion to 3.7 billion birds and between 6.9 billion to 20.7 billion mammals annually. It is important that we state our formal position regarding factors that may affect the impact of cat predation and wildlife populations in our area. Number one, we oppose people feeding feral or stray cats in public areas, parks, schools, playgrounds, or other public areas. This activity increases the impact of cat predation on wildlife in that area. We oppose trap, neuter, and release programs for feral cats, given that extended and thorough studies show no significant effect in decreasing cat predation on wildlife in those areas. We support and are asking local and state agencies to adopt cat indoors programs, which encourages cat owners to keep their cats fed inside as much as possible and monitor cat activity when outside. We have contacted you to make our position formally known and are willing to support the above points if needed.
Anything else? Thank you. I don't think anyone has any questions. No questions, thanks.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, next speaker.
Cristobal Patino, Public Safety, Auto Pedestrians, Public Transit Extension.
My name is Cristobal Patino. My wife and I just got into town not even a year ago. We noticed you got a bunch of reckless drivers that have a habit of running the yellows and red lights. And my wife and I try to cross streets. A lot of times we're having to hop back up on your sidewalks because they're running them left and right. How come y'all don't have traffic cams that require front license plates on a lot of these vehicles?
So you can make a statement. This isn't a back and forth. This is your opportunity to speak.
That's why I'm trying to inquire, because it's very important we can get across your city streets safely.
Okay. Thank you. Anything else?
That's what I want to inquire about, is how come y'all don't have traffic cams up all over this town and require front license plates? That's
Yeah.
the only one going to slow them down.
So front license plates is a state ordinance.
Right. And how, like I said, the traffic cams are going to be gotten from a grant from the U.S. Department of Transportation.
Okay.
Sir, also, we just approved last year the motorcycle traffic enforcement, and there are about a dozen of them, and they're in full force in areas. If there's a area of the community that you think needs traffic enforcement, you can just send your council member or send us an email, and we'll see what we can do.
We've been all over your town on the public buses, and I haven't seen one area that doesn't need it.
Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Okay.
Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Consent agenda items 1 through 14.
Any items that need to be pulled in the consent agenda, items 1 through 14 for clarification or discussion? Seeing none, I move that we approve consent agenda items 1 through 14.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Cast your vote. Motion passes 7-0. Madam Clerk, next item.
Community event with alcohol consumption, Autumn and Art.
Mayor, Council, John D'Angelo, Arts and Cultural Services. What's before you today is Wichita Festivals, Inc. has a community event permit scheduled for the 14th through the 16th for Autumn and the Art. Street closure request was approved on August 28th of Bradley Fair Parkway. Area and businesses and residents have been notified of the street closure. This is an annual event. The code requires a resolution to allow alcohol within that area. Staff has reviewed the application for the community event and the consumption of the alcohol and finds that the criteria has been met. This is a map showing you the location. I'm happy to stand for questions.
Anyone have any questions? Seeing none, we'll go out to the community. Anyone like to address the council on this agenda item? Seeing none, we'll bring discussion back to the bench. Councilmember Meitzner.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that we approve the resolution and approve as to form.
Second. We have a motion and a second for approval. Any other discussion? Cast your vote. Motion passes 7-0. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Tallgrass Film Festival opening night gala, community event with alcohol consumption, resolution.
Again, Mayor, John D'Angelo, Arts and Cultural Service. Again, this is Tallgrass Film Festival. They've applied for a community event permit for October 17th for their opening reception. Again, code requires a resolution to allow for alcohol in that area, which is the 100 block north on Market Street. Staff has reviewed this and the community event application and believe it's met all the criteria. The following is the location to show you where they're planning to have the event held. I'm happy to stand for questions.
Questions? None? Anyone in the public in the audience like to address the council on this item? Seeing none, we'll bring discussion back to the bench, and we'll turn it over to Councilmember Claycomb.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to move that we adopt the resolution to allow alcohol consumption on the public sidewalk within the parameters outlined in the community event application during the Tallgrass Film Festival opening night gala scheduled for October 17th, 2018.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Cast your vote. Motion passes 7-0. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Zone 2018-24, city zone change from single-family residential to two-family residential on property generally located west of 135th Street West and north of U.S. Highway 54-400.
Council members, the application area is approximately 9 acres in size. It's outlined in the blue rectangle on the slide. They're requesting TF3 two-family zoning in order to develop a duplex subdivision. Each duplex would have its own lot, and the western 100 feet of the ownership will remain zoned SF5, and I've got a site plan here later that will show that a little clearer. But you can see here the area that's in pink is all zoned GC general commercial, and the properties that are in white are zoned SF5, single family. This is an aerial to the north and to the west. The properties are developed with single-family residential uses. On the east side of 135th Street, from north to south, there's a subdivision that's being developed. Then there's a church, and then the smaller building in the rectangle or in the square That's a business that sells building coatings, and then the rest of the property is vacant. To the south of the application area is a second church. This is the site plan that the applicant submitted. They're not required to show site plans with zone changes, but they are showing that the west 100 feet of their property, they would leave zone single family and develop with single family homes. And the remainder of the property would be developed with the duplexes. There was a protest that equals 52%. The protesters expressed concern that the developer has not presented a clear plan of his intentions. The proposed project will not meet the standards of the existing development in the area. Duplexes may be rental, and one person stated only single-family residences would be acceptable. The Planning Commission reviewed this and approved it 9-2-2. District Advisory Board recommended denial 8-3. The 52% protest does require a 6 out of 7 votes to approve. And the comprehensive plan shows this is appropriate either for residential or employment. So with that, I try and answer questions.
Anyone have any questions at this time? Again, just a reminder, this is not a public hearing, so we will keep the discussion at the bench. I'll turn it over to Councilmember Blueball.
Thank you, Mayor.
Oh, I'm sorry. Cindy, did you have something?
I just have a question for Dale. So the SF5 that they're saying on, so is that part of this zoning? So that they're asking for multifamily on the east, and the 3 lots will stay SF5 with this zoning?
Yeah,
okay.
They would only be able to do duplexes, not multifamily.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Councilmember Blueball.
So I've had several folks contact me, both emailing me as well as show up at our DAB meeting. And I've met with the applicant as well as the owner of the property. And you know, our district advisory board felt like they just didn't have a good understanding as to what the plan was going forward. And personally, I feel like it's probably a good property for this type of development because it's surrounded with patio homes, commercial property, but at the same time, it does back right up to some of these properties. So I would like the opportunity to take it back to my DAB again to better explain it.
So does it need to go back to only your DAB and back here, or are you going to send it back through the process?
I would prefer just to send it back to DAB if I can.
Is that an option?
That's an option, and the motion would just be a motion to defer to a specific date to return to the city council.
Okay.
So I would like to take it back to my October DAB.
And then
so
bring it
whatever
back.
Date followed that.
So your motion is to defer it, your October DAB meeting's the first Monday in October?
Yes.
So it would come back to us. So you want to bring it back
October
on the
9th.
2nd, or you want to wait until the 9th?
Probably October 9th.
It'd be good on 9th.
Bring it back October 9th.
Yeah. So motion to defer this, you said, till October 9th, and
Yes.
you will take care of organizing it to come back through your DAB.
Correct.
All right, I'll second that. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Cast your vote. Motion passes 7-0. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Councilmember appointments and comments.
Any appointments, comments? Councilmember Meissner?
Yeah, Mayor, we don't do this very often, but I would like to consider a motion on an off-agenda item. I don't know if I need to make a motion for an off-agenda item first.
That's correct. Just make a motion that the council take up an off-agenda item.
Can the council take up an off-agenda item?
Second. We have a motion and a second for the council to consider an off-agenda item. Councilmember Johnson, did you have a question?
Not about that. I just had a comment, but I can wait until this is over.
Okay. Cast your vote. Motion passes 7-0. Okay.
Thank you. This is related to a lot of the emotion and news media and others about the building coverage of smaller and single-family homes, and related to both the minimum building coverage and/or the notifications related to annexation or plats. And I mean, we can discuss it, but I have a motion that I'd like to propose first, and if there's questions, we can explain. So my motion, which I can provide, Karen, to you, but I would like to ask the MAPD to review the existing zoning code with respect to its regulations dealing with minimum building coverage requirements for single-family homes, comma, and on public notification for annexation and/or plat approval. And if the amendments are found to be advisable, prepare such amendments for consideration for adoption by the council. So basically, we have two items to clarify. That's the end of the motion, but two items to clarify. And one is, I think the public feels like they really wanted to be notified, even though we went through all the legal processes that we discussed previously. But I just would like them to relook at that and relook at, I've talked to planning a little bit, what's the rest of the region, our regional comparable cities doing about minimum regulations. We're finding that maybe there is no minimum square foot regulations, but I just would like to request from the bench here that we have them review both the size and the potential public notification process. And if they find something as exception in this area, that they bring it forward.
Would this typically be how we direct MAPD to take on an assignment?
Mayor, we don't have this very often, but this is an opportunity for a council member to express an issue that then the rest of the council would give us direction. Typically, one council member can't send us to do a significant study like this without council authority.
So what, I mean, I don't have heartburn. I mean, we're not asking them to do anything other than spend a little time looking at current policies, and certainly can appreciate with all of the, obviously, issue involving tiny homes, micro mansions, whatever you want to call them. I'm not sure we have the correct name or definition of any of them, but I can't imagine that there's much cost associated with this.
We'll have a significant amount of time in terms of looking at best practices. Possibly this could result in a report back to MAPC before it even gets back to you. I'm not sure what the motion asked us as staff to do the work, but I think you probably want advice from MAPC before you took any action.
Well, wouldn't MAPC or MAPD have to take up this item and vote on it before it would come back formally to us?
Again, it depends how far you want us to take this. If you simply want to report back on best practices and recommendations, we can do that. If you'd like this to go further in terms of policy development, then yes, it would go to MAPC before it came back to you.
So at this point, Councilmember Meissner, you're just asking for the research?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And really it's asking, I believe, the MAPD to do the review first and then take it up the chain if they wanted to consider it.
Well, as the manager just mentioned, the process would be we collect information and then make the decision whether it goes to MAPD and then back through the formal process. So first step is collect information, bring it to us, and then we make the decision that it needs to go through the formal process. Fair enough?
Sounds logical. Yes, sir.
All right, I'll second. Councilmember Johnson? Did you have?
No,
All right.
sold over from the.
Oh, all right.
And, you know, it's got implications to where, you know, you've got maybe potential developments, but we don't want to impact some of the momentum that might be towards infill projects things like that. So it's not an easy one. I don't think that we can just universally impact an ordinance citywide that we don't take into all of these issues that we've talked about before.
Sure. Okay. Anyone else have anything else to ask about that? And I don't know that we have enough information, but I will ask the public if they want to weigh in on this. Anyone in the audience like to weigh in on this? Seeing none, we will bring discussion back to the bench. We have a motion and a second to direct staff to do some research regarding both notice and minimum potential square footage of homes being built in neighborhoods. Is that
right?
All right.
Dale, you concur with that? Yeah, exactly.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Cast your vote. Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you.
Now, Councilmember Johnson, you had something you wanted to share?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to comment about Melanin Fest this weekend over at the Dunbar Theater. It was a great first year honoring the Black Arts Festival. Several murals went up, and the artists with Horizontes, as well as other community artists, did a really good job putting up those murals, one of Dr. King and several others around there.
I've seen pictures. They look awesome. Any other appointments? Councilmember Clendenin?
Thank you, Mayor. I need to appoint Jan Bush to the Cultural Arts Funding Committee.
Okay. Anything else?
That's it for me.
All right. I would move that we approve the appointee as mentioned.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for approval. Cast your vote. Motion passes 7-0. And before we can adjourn today's council meeting, we have an executive session that should take, I don't know, more than about 3 hours. I move that the city council recess into executive session for, let's just go for 25 minutes to discuss annual performance review of the city manager pursuant to KSA 75-4319. And this is to discuss personnel matters of non-elected personnel. And the executive session is required to protect the privacy interest of an identifiable, mostly identifiable individual. And the executive session on this matter will begin, we'll just say, in about 3 minutes, as quickly as we can get over to the conference room, and we will return no earlier than 10 o'clock. City Council will return back into these chambers.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Cast your vote. Motion passes 7-0. Let's head over.